I'm alive, and it's Simon Paul looking at Autograders again. Yes. Okay. So, oh my God, got a screenshot on my side. Yeah. So I mean that's so the
Let's see
yeah.
here.
So I grabbed a copy of that box
Okay.
from your repo.
Hmm.
So I checked out the Vagrant Travis box, and and I ran that, and it worked perfectly. I think I already RAG already existed, but it overrode it, and it all just ran fine. So and we at the moment I get our best guess at the moment is that you were saying that there's some chef scripts that create this box.
Exactly, and it's the same ones that Travis uses
Uh-huh.
internally. So yesterday with Yara, we kind of toured back through, some of that. Um, just looking at how Travis unfortunately doesn't release their own Vagrant box anymore, but they do just publish the scripts, and then this person went and made the Vagrant box.
Okay.
Um, and I'm not sure why they stopped, or maybe
Yeah,
it,
there would be some cost that they were incurring from hosting
yeah,
the things or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
and they found it was sufficient for people for them to
Yeah.
use.
But so do you have the link to the chef scripts?
Yeah. Let's see, maybe. Um, let's, it was worker standard. At first, it was kind of confusing because a lot of these templates they call them are pretty much blank because they're in, like, I guess they have inheritance or something, containment
Uh-huh.
going
Mhm.
on into the chat. I'm going down the rabbit hole here. Switch the camera over to Sam. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, did I not send?
Okay. Um, wow. So I've got
Pretty much everything. You know, get mercurial SVN as an example. Yeah. So I mean, they have a lot of stuff, but it's not.
no. I mean, and
Yeah,
the,
Gendler. I mean, the bundler rake is for the gems. It's like,
yeah. Well, I mean, definitely. Like, if one of the problems was at some level, Rake wasn't available. Um,
could be.
I mean, that would obviously help there. And if we're looking down here, like I saw SQLite, um, and PostgreSQL and so on. So
Yeah.
it's sort of putting all of that stuff in. I mean, I guess we don't know if it basically. I would have thought it would be very. If it tried, Travis would be even slower than it currently is. If it was I guess that maybe they must have like a pool of boxes of this nature standing by, kind of as
Exactly.
it were,
Yeah.
right? And then basically when a request comes in, it says, right, let's do our stuff in it. But that would explain why we've got the background stuff in there. Um, and so I guess that suggests. I mean, I think one of the things here is we need to kind of like rather than just repeatedly banging our head against this,
Yeah.
fun that can be. I think we want to maybe step back and I mean, so there's one immediate direction that suggests it there, which is that we, um, you know, provide,
Binary. Yeah.
yeah,
Reduce what's in the Travis.
yeah, we reproduce what's in Travis. Uh,
And then potentially we can just go and switch back to whatever box we want, and as long as we know what we really need.
mm, mm. I mean, what seems odd about, I mean, I guess what the reason, I mean, there was a period previously, I think, when you and the Arrow were maybe working on things where, um, in order to fix these sorts of issues, you were like pulling gems into the root HW gem file. Excuse me, if you remember.
Right.
what I mean, and I was I guess I was sort of trying to resist that because I was trying to avoid there being this kind of like you know overlap of things. I guess my concern would be in that case is that we ended up having something like we've got
Yeah, I mean, you want
you know
project
oh,
independence, and you
right,
don't want
right,
to throw everything in one big pool and say that's our
yeah,
dependencies for 5 projects.
right, right. Although maybe that was overly cautious of me. Um, I mean, I think that the other thing I was thinking about today is, splitting the, you know, splitting into multiple private repositories. I mean, one of the issues that we have here is that, and one of the things also that I think is making things slow for us is that we have, all of these homeworks in one repository. So if we check in a change to one of those homeworks,
Yeah.
then the whole thing kicks off,
Right.
and it's long and it's slow, and we're kind of everything's like we're wading through treacle.
Yeah.
So that would seem to be like one approach. Is it? I mean, that in as much as I mean the basically it's keeping and the reason we need private um, is to keep the solutions private, which is like sort of the top level thing from Armando. I mean, I'm you know I mean, I think if we split them into multiple private products, the problem in some ways there is that what we want to be able to do is to be able to make changes to the RAG repo and then be able to we want to know that any change that we make to the RAG doesn't break the different homeworks, or at least have a mechanism for testing that the change doesn't cause problems in multiple homeworks. I mean, in some ways, the bigger picture about all of this, the CI, the question is like, how much,
How much is
do
too much?
yeah, how much do we need the autograders, right? So, like, if for example, it was a single course and we were running it, and like this one is now about to finish. If we were not going to run these homeworks again, right? We could basically say, well, let's rebuild the grader from scratch and just do something different. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Um, but as talking to Armando, what he's now saying that so when he next teaches the class in spring 2015, he suggests that he's going to flip the classroom there. He's not going to record new videos, but so the idea is that the class is going to run again in the autumn, and I guess it would run again in spring. And I think a number of these homeworks would still continue to be, they'll have the existing videos. The homeworks will run, again in ever so slightly more polished forms. Um, and so to the extent that I'm involved in making sure those graders run, then I guess I want some way of being able to fix issues with the graders or address what's going on. And I think Armando has like a sort of a Sinatra. I think he's got other ideas for homeworks in the works, and he's got this TA who's apparently going to be with him over the summer, and he wants to do another grader where it's kind of like a style grader. So like currently with the complicated ones,
Right. RuboCop.
right, we've got the mutation grader, and we've got the coverage grader, which is what the feature grader is really doing, and then there's also the a style grader. So kind of the
That was the one called Beautiful Code Grader. Is that right?
maybe um, so I'm trying to think outside the box about what is the what is the clever solution to pull out of all of this to make progress easy rather than continually very slow.
I mean, you could say there's not going to be too much change to the graders, right?
Mm. Mm. Um,
Even if they're still needed, that the chance of things, changing there is not huge now. I don't know.
I mean, I think we have a slew of requests for changes for the autograders from the beta sasser instructors. In particular, things like
Feedback.
being able to see the student submission, which would require kind of fairly major refactoring of the grader, and then also there's this idea that of basically removing all of the config files and basically having the config sit in the XML submission coming from the JSON submission and in the
Right.
XML formatting. Right. So there's all those things, and I guess the interesting question to kind of go above that. I mean, I guess there's like, so we've got the sort of pain points are, there's new graders or new homeworks, new grader, and there's requested changes to the grader. Now this is I think it's an excellent example of what happens to projects as their complexity increases. So like a simple grader that just does an aspect grade or whatever is fine, but what happened is in a sort of uncontrolled fashion, relatively speaking, Armando's TAs added mutation grader, feature grader in a sort of haphazard fashion without consistent tests or end-to-end testing or anything really. And so now, in order to make other changes, requested changes to grader.
Right.
Like other things that we might like to change we're in this kind of like
Regression fear.
right. It's like it's difficult to make any changes without understanding what the impacts are, and we're kind of in this state of trying to get the continuous integration so that we can even be in a place where we can upgrade the homeworks and then the grader and make the changes. I guess the other thing is to consider is where does the money, if there is any money, come from? Another thing I was considering is that at least the way that it's working with edX, I mean, that some of the students are paying for some of the students are paying $50 or more to be certified by the course, and so the students want the graders to work, I guess. But that money is Amanda was trying to explain this to me, and I think at the moment all of that money is like kind of edX has nominally paid. It's weird because BerkeleyX pays edX, or Berkeley pays edX to host their courses, right? They pay for the hosting, and I think that the fees from the edX that initially pays off those hosting fees, and then additional stuff goes back to Berkeley to pay for. Like I think Berkeley has sort of at some level kind of like billed edX for the creation of the courses or something. So
it's a wash.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I mean, in terms of like, I'm trying to work out like, where should we focus our attention in order to have the most impact, or even I mean, I would love to generate, and in another context, right? If we had paying customers who are paying for a particular kind of service, then if we could identify the most important part of the service to them, we could focus on that, and that would make some kind of sense. But it's not clear. I mean, we've got all sorts of like sort of minor issues coming back from students, but we've got no sense really, for example, of like for the students who are paying more money, which are the more important issues for them, really. We've got sort of Armando who makes the whole show possible, so clearly things that he'd like to do, like if he wants to add a new homework, being able to do that is part of keeping the whole show on the road. The other thing is the textbook is that there is money from the textbook, like we had money for the indexing, and potentially if we had that's another direction. I was talking in the MOOC open office hours yesterday about how what I think there's lots of code examples in the textbook not working, and what we could really do with is continuous integration on that, in that might having a really reliable textbook might help drive sales of the textbook, and that might create more money to spend on the Autograders and even money to pay you. But yeah,
it's pretty far down the line.
Well, no, I mean it's not. I mean well, we could say that rather than spending time on the Autograders, that we should switch and work on the book. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that might have a greater chance of generating
More
revenue.
positive effect.
You know, like in the short. I mean, but it's all a bit, you know, much of it. There's not. I just thought I'd sort of talk through that to see if there
Yeah.
was if that could help point us towards what's the. I mean, I feel like, you know, well, one of the things that you said on Tuesday was about that this whole issue with I got it now. No, is it the right thing? Right factor knows good. The whole thing with I was in it in a minute. Oh, I've closed them all. Damn. Where's features gone? We've got what is it? Ruby inch testing, Ruby calisthenics testing feature. Like for example, if we go in here and we do the right, there we go, that, and we look at this. So
Okay.
this you were saying that this was it specifically this open 3 capture thing that was introduced particularly to separate the homework 3 and 4, which had been sort of painfully interfering with each other.
The bundle gem file there, I think, is what. Yeah. So that it would, you know, use the gem file in the current directory. And that, I believe, means after the cheater there, so it's using the, you know, homework 3 or homework 4 bundle gem file.
Mm. But were they okay? But maybe
Yeah,
I
whether or not
misinterpreted.
that's needed.
I mean, I got the sense that there was a, you know, that for example, we went through this process of doing grading for the simple homeworks and moving on to the more complex ones.
Right.
And, you know, like BDD Cucumber was added, and that worked. And then adding BDD's TDD cycle kind of made things more complicated, and that forced us into a situation where we needed to do. I guess at the moment, I like. It feels like we could do ourselves a lot of favor by just splitting this all up into multiple things rather than having this single monolithic homework directory.
Right.
Like, although maybe I'm overlooking the source of the complexity. Like, I guess I'm not even really understanding like the nature of the errors that we're getting are.
Well, I think part of it evolved from just, you know, we need to have a private repo. That means, you know, we're going to have to check out, you know, at least one private repo. That's probably as far as we you know, as far as we consider. I don't think we considered breaking everything up.
No, I mean Armando had sort of created it in a sort of a one level thing, but there's an extent. I think, I mean, you know, this is encouraging that at least it is possible to have it all sort of working.
Right.
But I mean, at the moment, I mean, have you got on, if I look at your screen, have you got the you were saying you were just going into quickly checking some other view that had the you were talking about authorized being false or privileged being false and checking.
Yeah, I switched back because I changed privileged false at the same time that I switched to the box. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't
Right. But do
wasn't
you have?
that.
I mean, do you have some of the? Do you have like a terminal window open there with the results of having run that, which has got like the actual
So
error message?
here you can see, you know, it's what is it? Ubuntu Trusty 32, right?
Right.
Here's the error. Gem not found Zen test, because that's the first one that it starts with, you know.
Right.
Capital
Although
letter.
that's, I mean, and that's there. That's in the checking that's checking that RAG works. And so the funny thing is the inconsistency of this, because for me on Tuesday when we were doing this, basically I was able to finish that Cucumber install, but then it was trying to just run Cucumber, and it was encountering all sorts of weird and wonderful gem file things, you know, in the background, depending upon like whether it was like sometimes it was PG, and I think sometimes you were seeing that it was Rake, and just not having access to those individual things. And what seemed to be the crux of it on Tuesday was we could run that individual like grade 4 slash what have you from the command line,
Right.
but when we tried to run it, as a sort of a process started by the open 3.capture3
Right.
thing, that it would just sort of fall apart.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't working.
But so it, and I think even if we moved on and fixed this thing, I think that the problem is that when it goes wrong in sort of a horrible, messy snarl up. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's because we're running all of these things in parallel. So I kind of the like we could maybe be asking Amanda to pay for more private repos on GitHub, which he might do ultimately. But I've become more familiar with Bitbucket, and it's seems to be pretty reliable. Can we imagine that we had? I mean, we've got the public repos on GitHub. I mean, I sort of, rather than keeping on charging on and doing large things, I feel like maybe just everything needs to be split up, and we need to focus on doing small things and having them run independently. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? And so a potential plan then might be so that if we started back at the beginning and we say we've got our Ruby intro testing thing. So I mean, previously I'd been saying that if we go to GitHub and then we got Sourcebook. Previously I'd been saying I thought that introducing the CI into the that's interesting. Introducing the CI into the public repos would be kind of maybe that's potentially confusing for students, but I think it's maybe worth the risk. Why is that now? Have we not got a Ruby intro one? I thought we created. What have I done?
Is it in
Stars.
Calus? No.
We definitely have Ruby Calisthenics. Maybe I called it Ruby Introduction. I mean, what I'm also thinking is we don't have like. That's weird. Did I not do that? Maybe there isn't. Maybe let's go. If we go and look at edX here, and look at the courseware. Is the first one still stuck on a silly download or something? Let's see. Ruby intro. Yeah, in fact, so Ruby intro doesn't actually have a repo. It just starts off by telling you, make these things. And it doesn't even have the specs. Yeah, it just starts off like this, and it doesn't tell you to do anything. So I wonder if, as an experiment, what we could do is create a new repository. Well, anyway. So if we did, it should be, and we call it Ruby intro. There we go. I don't know. Introductory Ruby, like so. And I wonder, just as an exercise now, or as like, because I don't know about you, the whole kind of waiting for huge Travis things to build for like half an hour doesn't get me off. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, or vagrant boxes too.
what I was just thinking was, what do we have? If we look at, because we've got the code, like if we just take Ruby intro and we've got the public, there's lib and spec, right, like so. So what I could do is like what I've been doing before. No, so we're in, and what I could do is I could do muk dir Ruby intro, cd Ruby intro, and then I could do copy. Is it minus PR or something? I always forget. Public.
Okay.
There's like something I want to copy recursively.
That's R, yeah.
I think it'll just P. Let's just see what happens if I do that.
P might make directories for you or something.
Yeah. Oh, and I want to copy it here. Did that work? Okay, there we go. Right. So if I do git init, git add, git commit, initial commit, and then if we do, as we were up on here, and we add that in as a remote, and then we do this, and we do that. Okay, right. So we should now have here, okay, and then I wonder on this README, is that, why is that doing, okay, for some reason we always have this div thing here, don't we? It's silly. Like so. Come on. With you, yeah. I don't know why the div thing totally screws up the markdown. I would have thought they would be just removed, but anyway. Yeah. Okay. Right. Oh, that's interesting. And then, of course, if you actually want, now you have to like that. Because I almost like before we were kind of like, you know, actually with the release today of the legacy homework 2, we're kind of pretty much done for the old this course. There's that performance homework or whatever, but like the number of people who are actually left by the end is so small. I mean, I hope the grade is still working. I will have to do that, but there's a couple of weeks for that there. I feel like there's kind of like a little. I mean, my mind starts to go to the next run of the course, and you know, being able to support that well. There we go. That looks not unreasonable, doesn't it? Okay. So if we come back here, we could get pull, get that changed to README in. Okay. So I've got here, and I guess I can even run rspec here, and that's going to fail as expected because what we've got is we've got the skeleton for it, and we've got the other thing. But so what we could do here, right? This standalone Ruby intro here is. So what else have we got? So we've got the spec there. That's the public one. So I think there's one thing is that the that spec here, it's different. There's there's like the full specs and the partial specs.
Oh, so the partials, yeah, those are the public ones that it says.
So there's like skeleton specs and then there's full ones. I mean, I think I've kind of got Armando on the ropes in terms of, you know, agreeing that there's not so much value in keeping the in keeping the spec secret. Like, because when he was trying to convince me that it was like, oh yeah, that's better because, you know, you don't want to have people hitting the graders too much, right? But it's like if they can't get confirmation about how well they've done from anywhere else other than the grader, then they're going to be tempted to do more submissions to the grader, aren't they? Right?
Yeah.
If they can test all of the things, I mean, it just seems anyway. I don't need to debate it necessarily. So what I'm tempted to do here is, I guess, you know, how can we? Like, it seems to me really that maybe rather than these skeletons, that we should just. I'm tempted to do away with the idea of skeleton specs. Really, I'm not sure what purpose they serve. Do you know what I guess it's in principle, if you're working on one thing, then having a smaller set of specs that's less errors to be getting, it's maybe easier to focus on if you're only getting a small number of specs. But actually, I mean, the setup at the moment is that in the Ruby intro, in the course, we don't give you any specs. And so the skeleton specs are kind of not even really being used.
Oh.
So I guess I'm definitely tempted to. I'm definitely. Yeah, well, and maybe what was it? And so the public bit that we've got here, we've just got these three things for. I mean, at the moment we don't distribute the skeleton bits there, but so again to sort of simplify things, I'm tempted to take from the autograder there. If I do now copy from here from Ruby intro, and I go to autograder, and I take star.rb, and I stick that into here in spec, then what I should be doing is I should be overwriting these three specs. Just spec, they should all fail. I'm doing this on GitHub particularly, but anyway, I can just do git commit minus am full specs, git push. Okay. And so I guess then there's the question here is if we wanted to be able to run CI on this, Ruby intro here, then see we could add features there into it, but
is this the one where the files were sym-linked into Autograders itself?
No, that's the Oracle at Bacon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about. I mean, having just created that Ruby intro there, we've now got Ruby intro there, same as we've got Ruby calisthenics, and they're just existing there, kind of in space and not doing very much, and that's all, okay, I think. I wonder if the thing to test, because I guess still like actually putting the solutions in the same repo in public is probably beyond the pale. I guess that what I would like to do right now is just create a Bitbucket repo, a private one that would have CI for testing just the Ruby intro.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if I created, we go to bitbucket.org.
I think the reason that we thought that this would be a better approach initially was that we didn't want to maintain credentials for private repos.
Right.
Yeah, for multiple ones, more than I guess you're managing for HW.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're referring to like whether we have private repos on Bitbucket or I'm not sure what you're saying actually.
Well, if the CI is on GitHub and it's trying to check out stuff from Bitbucket, we would need to maintain like a list of credentials for, per homework, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, totally, and I think that's something as well. Like what we really want. I think we definitely want what I really like now is that, for example, here with Ruby Calisthenics, we've got these to pull requests from students who are doing the course, making suggestions about that, and those can be considered later and pulled in or not or what have you. I think that's definitely the way we want to go. But so yeah, it seems to make sense that the CI is in a different repo, and in order to be able to make as many private ones, so we can do here and call this Ruby intro, and so this is testing the consistency of the, and I'll grab just do intro like that. So, and then I don't know that we care. Then let's just do. Do I need to say the language? Have we got a limit on the number of private repositories we can create on? They don't have Ruby in there. That's very strange. Anyway.
Rail. Yeah, it's weird.
I already have a repository with this name. Goodness me. Goodness me. Do I? Right. Repositories. I do. Okay. Aha. Okay. And is that a private repository? Can we tell? Can you see this repository?
It's got a lock up in the upper left next to your name.
Oh yeah. Okay. So maybe I can give you access to this repository. Okay. Right. So it looks like that this doesn't actually have anything on it.
Gotcha.
At the moment. I don't need to create a repository. I've got a repository. Right. So what I'm tempted to do here is actually sort of back. Well, let's get another these, and if we go over to, I've got my documents. I'm going to go here and create a Bitbucket thing. Bitbucket. No, I know. Oh, look, dear. And CD to Bitbucket, and then here I would do git clone reintro. Right. CD Ruby intro. Right. Oh, and I've got something in there. Homework 0 part 1.b. That's weird. Okay. I'm not even sure why I've got that there. Oh, yes, that's. I'm not sure why that's there. Okay, so I could do git remove homework 0 part 1.rb. Okay, git status, git commit.
It looks like you can just import your repos from Git straight to Bitbucket.
Right.
Edit them down there or something.
Well, what I'm kind of wanting to do here is I want to mirror the setup that we have between the currently in the private sourcebook HW repo and do it just like a micro version just for Ruby intro. So
okay.
what I'd like to see here is I think we want a features directory, and I just better wait here. What I want is, so we've got our features, like we want this, I think, right? And so if I create a new file here, which is, we can just call this, actually what? No, go away.
Ruby intro feature?
CI
feature?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, it's all for Ruby intro. So this would be like, this is testing Ruby intro, testing control S, no, other one here. So this would be, what this is here is this is
integration test, or
it's well, we're sort of like skeleton and solution check. I guess is what it's really doing. We're checking the skeleton code and the solution code, and so if we just go in here, I can do here. I just do cucumber there and get some failing things. Okay, yeah. But so let me give you access to the repository. Maybe we can actually do some ping pong. Now I want to give you access to this repository. How do I do that? Invite users through. Send invitation. What's your
Appleade?
All right. Okay. Right. Okay. So yeah, I guess. All right. I guess you could fork this if you wanted to.
Okay.
But I don't know. To be honest with this, I feel like I want to. Can we create just teams? Create team. I guess we can have like an Agile Ventures thing on here. Your team will be available at Bitbucket. We have to give them an ID. What's the ID?
I wonder if you could import a team from GitHub.
That would be interesting.
I think if they're could pawn off the storage on somebody else, they might want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a wrapper of GitHub Bitbucket is. Maybe they're completely
I don't know. I just thought I'd just create the Agile Ventures team there on
Gotcha.
Bitbucket. Gosh, and since we're creating teams, let's have a let's have one of those. Just grab those. Now I want to anywhere I can have a pair programming, then but also, can we have a SAS book team? So I want to see SAS book. Maybe we can. Yeah, you right. Okay. Do we have Armando? Armando box marketing. Right. Anyway, I mean, this is sort of experimental, and let's not worry about forks, because I think in the first instance, we just want to see if even this concept works here. But so what I've just done there is I've got set up with this, copying over this thing here.
Yep.
And so we've got spec versus solution and spec versus skeleton, and it's just testing the autograder specs. So it is doing exactly the right stuff. And so what we want is given I have the homework, we need these 4 sets of step definitions.
Right. They're probably all in HW. Rails intro.
We've got a Rails intro.
Yeah.
So kill process.
Oh.
So given I have the homework in Ruby intro, given I have, I guess what I should do in here is I should be like doing this. So that's okay. Let's have a look at how this all currently works. So then I also want, where does step definitions go? Step definitions go in step definitions. New folder.
Execution
Step.
All of those steps should be in HW testing steps. I don't think any of them are actually in.
Right. So we just call this. What are these steps? These steps are related to. I can call them RAG steps. RAG steps. Okay. Yeah, but I want to grab just only the ones that we.
Which is it should be just in HW testing steps.
Yeah. That one and that one. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Then I should see the results are. And this one. Okay. Right. So are these the 4 basic things that we would need to run
And I believe they probably call some the methods, so you have to grab the defs.
Okay. All right. So let's have a look through these things. So given I have the homework in path, so that just sets an environment variable, and then I run the Autograder for okay.
And that's the one we'd need to pull in. And there's actually calls below it too.
Right. So these 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So then I should see the results are, and then that's actually that's the whole thing there. So it's going to break in some place. But so uninitialized constant RAG homework path. So it's relying upon.
Yeah, they're right above there.
Okay, like this by default, we've got these two things, and that let's just grab this and
probably need actually we can get rid of a lot of that switch statement now too.
Yeah, I mean that again. So simplicity rules. But so let me just understand all the steps here, or I can run it and we'll see what happens there. I mean, it's going to be missing some important things. So notice file directory trainer. So it's trying to change into. Can we work out there?
RAG, maybe.
Right, and isn't it? Haven't we got a pre-step that like it loads RAG, or that's something else? Like
maybe it's going to the homework.
But it's like given I have the homework in. Okay, so here it's looking for Ruby intro.
Right.
Okay, so this is like. So what we would need to do, I think, in this is we need to check out Ruby intro from GitHub, right?
Or Bitbucket. Yep.
Well,
or
we've
both.
got the. Either way, but yeah, I think it's at least the idea that I'm going for here is that we have that. So how do you you'd done one of these where it was checking out, like, was it BD cucumber
Right.
okay, or
PDD cycle. Yeah.
and you did
The
how
second
had you
one.
there? Oh, okay. So you'd done an I clone master branch of public skeleton into external.
Right.
Right. So that would be go for like. Was there an additional step here? Given I'm in HW, we're in the home directory. Okay. So
And you could just get rid of that now, I guess.
uh, so is this? But this would be now. Yeah, I guess is that not necessarily? Maybe it's just given. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah.
And we could just put it into Ruby intro like that, and say sourcebook Ruby intro.
Yep.
Like this. And of course, we'd need that step.
Now the reason, yeah, let's see. The reason I had it on into external was
Well, there you don't want it to interfere with the stuff that's already in the repo and this, that, and the other. Here we don't have a Ruby intro inside it. So anyway,
right.
we'll
Yep.
see. This will probably fail horribly, but anyway, let's see what's going on here. Okay, and so
Where's it going to?
can you see this right?
Yep.
What's it doing? So it's like given I clone master branch public skeleton source Ruby intro into Ruby intro. Ah, okay. It's going and it's looking for solutions. It's red here. Solutions lib.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because what we don't have is we don't have the solutions, which makes sense. But so they should be. If I copy, so we want to mook deer. That's why I want to copy the. That's what I think it is. It's copy minus. How do you RP? No, I don't need recursive. I just need minus P. Maybe. If I go here and then back up to GitHub and then sourcebook and then I'd like to here into solution, like with everything in it. No.
Oh, minus R.
You think it's minus R?
The recursive.
Oh, that's it. Maybe that works. Okay, so now we have solutions. We have Ruby intro that we collected out. Okay, so now we run Cucumber here. Oh, it still can't find solutions. Solutions more. So we've got solutions lib and part. Okay, so solutions lib part 1 exists. And then we've got destination path Ruby intro already exists and is not an empty directory. Okay, so it's cloning here. Do we need some other mechanism to like delete it before we?
Yeah, we could do, or just do a fetch. You know, as long as we know what branch we're supposed to be fetching.
Yeah, I thought here that this is going to go here. This is doing git clone here. Well, right. But we can't assume that it's there. We want to either git fetch or clone or blow it away. Should this? Can we like here?
Yeah, delete it.
Yeah, we can just start off by we're going to run process. Can we delete it before we make it? Yep. And if it's, can we just do what is it? It's like remove minus RF.
Yeah.
And then the deer.
Yep. And that's you can
fine.
Lose the dot afterwards, right? Oh no, the dot is no. That's I'm trying to remember where we are, but.
Yeah. Oops. And I've just done this in totally the wrong place. But anyway. Let's go back. What I meant to do is do this in here. Right, so it's this one.
Yep. Gotcha.
Okay. So, oops. Okay, so now, we're kind of back to...
Is it looking... it's probably looking inside of the homework directory, Ruby intro, and then inside of that, it would expect solutions to be in there.
Okay, so
and I think it may not be. I didn't see the structure, but
yeah, no. The structure we've just we've got the simpler structure is like this,
Right.
It looks like Ruby intro has been checked out inside of a Ruby intro. So, but I guess we'll change that back to, let's just do remove -rf Ruby intro and switch back to your external model. That's seems cleaner. If the process of checking it out is going to create a Ruby intro directory anyway.
Oh, right.
I guess it could go. We could just say like into the current directory, couldn't we? With dot.
I forget why I didn't do that, but it could have been
No, well,
something to do with it.
that would have conflicted with the existing Ruby intro thing in that
Right, right.
location.
Oh, that's right.
We now don't have that problem, but anyway, we can leave it there being an external because that maybe. And so then it says I run the autograder for test subject there. So then I run the autograder. So yeah, we're going for rag HW path, which is we're going dot dot. Oh, that's interesting. So it's trying to go in order to run the rag thing. It should be going back one layer. So it should go rag HW path, which is dot dot, and then brain.
So we can. Yeah, most of that switch statement is related to other homeworks. So.
Yeah, so that we could remove so basically it's just the simple grader.
Yeah.
So we can just do this. So I love deleting code. So that means less code to maintain.
Exactly.
There you go. Right. But so it's running the subject and then the spec, both the rag HW path. So it's going dot dot. I mean, we're trying to.
Yeah, originally everything was inside of the homework.
Yeah.
And so now we have the homework and solutions on the same level. We could put the solutions into the homework and not change the CI very much, or we could keep them all separate and switch the paths a little bit.
I think here we've got
probably right there. Well, it's still looking inside of the homework, inside of wherever it says, given I have the HW, name.
Well, we're not saying given I have the HW name at all at the moment. We're saying first of all is that we're saying we clone the thing, which it seems like works because I'm seeing it on a file system, and then it's doing when I run autograder for test subject and spec. So when I run autograder for test subject and spec, and it's going for that HW path, which we haven't set.
Right, given out, yeah, that's the given of the homework. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we do have to have something along the lines of. And I have the homework in, and so where we don't have it in H, we just have it in dot, don't we?
Yes.
Although no, do we have it in external Ruby intro? Is that where the homework is? I mean, that's where the some of the it's now split between.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yep.
With the solution is now the spec is now going to be in. Instead of autograder there, that's just going to be in like spec. It's going to be in, if we put it into external there, if I just make it similar, put it into dot there, it's going to be in Ruby intro spec like that, because that's where we've just checked it out from. So that's where our specs are going to be.
Gotcha.
And the thing is that so in some cases, so we've got the public one, this is the skeleton code, so that's going to be in also in there. So we replace that like so, and the solutions are just in the local thing. They're just resting on the current thing. So I don't know if that's going to work now. I'm sure it's going to break, but see here. It's so confusing about which it.
Yeah, we could add some debugging in there. If you want.
Yeah, I mean that's saying like it would feel like it would be. I don't know. I can like. Oh, is there at least in a Ruby file I can like end this? I kind of want to just remove that for the moment, and maybe slap that in a file on the side, and we can bring that in back later. Yeah, and so. We're going in here, rag steps. This is when I run autograder. So
it's almost like we can get rid of the HW path completely, and then just spell it out the a little more
Yeah.
in the feature file.
Right. Sure. So we've got here test subject and spec are like this. Can I do PWD from here? I can do like it's
Hmm.
not going to do PWD, but it's we're going to have so HW per path. I mean, I can if I grab this, what it's going to try and do is it's going to run that like that, so dot solutions. And if I do PWD from here, pretty interesting. So that should kind of work, right? Solutions lib part one, unless I've screwed it up otherwise. Because if you go and look at it here, we've got solutions lib part one.
Okay.
But so yeah, we've debugged in there, and there's run AG, which is in. I should get in here, shouldn't I? I always get confused about how to do it. I can step into here. I never. I want to go in. I don't know. I'm gonna. Yeah, strangely. But so here, if I do. Yeah, that exists. Um, let's. Okay, we're in there, and so it's going to try and run that. Ah, okay. That's weird. I feel like has it not? We haven't checked out the rag repo. I'm not seeing any rag here. This is sort of assuming that I have the rag thing. That's what did I not? It's not. It's not in the rag repo. Shouldn't there be something in here that ensures that rag has been checked out and stuff?
I
Oh no,
mean,
it's cucumber install.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we're just totally missing the whole install thing. Um, and I wonder, does that even need to be a separate thing now? I guess we should just sort of have that.
I mean, we have it in Autograder examples. Basically,
Oh,
you know,
we have a copy of that, or we have a simpler version of it in Autograder examples.
basically the same thing, but just copied over.
Okay. I guess just to get sort of like an imprint. I guess I'd like to get something working and then then be simplifying it. So we could. The funny thing is there. What was in the Ruby intro says that I'm in the. This doesn't say anything about switching to the rag directory.
Right. It basically. It's in Run Autograder or something. There's chdir to rag hw.
Oh, so maybe that's what it's saying. Like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it basically. It can't find the rag directory. That's the error that it's giving us, maybe.
And then
Yeah.
it looks like it's also having trouble deleting the ext or something.
You think so? Yeah.
Destination Ruby already. Oh, that's the clone part. And then RM RF. Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's trying to do like dot. It's rmrf dot rm there. Oh no, and then dot.
You can't remove itself or
No.
parent.
Yeah, so maybe that's.
Oh, we need to add probably the external after it or something. Right?
But so this is going for like deer here, which is that's because we basically want it not to remove. It's funny, like it's trying to check it out into external, and I'm saying put it into the local, and I guess basically it doesn't need to. I think what we want to do here is remove the name of the repo, which is not going to be sourcebook. It's going to be like the split version of it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
We kind of what we want to do is looks like you're already splitting there to get that's the name of the
Right.
there. So we can kind of what we should be doing in some ways actually is we should be trying to get rid of that one, and we don't need to make deer if deer is just dot, or well, we can have that there. But right, so clearly the thing that we need is we need install, and we would need the install feature, and we would need to have, so save that, and that would be install feature, and then we need the install steps, which are just resting on there. Okay. Okay, like that. And so then in principle, we could run cucumber install, which will, okay, so it's Google setup, it's expecting that it's in HW, it's actually in Ruby intro. In this case, where are all those expectations about HW coming from? And I'm in, okay. That's kind of hard-coded to that. And I guess the reason that we have this like this is we want to run this once, and we don't want to keep on running it every time. We want to kind of like get RAG. But I guess in principle we should be like, there's no reason in principle why this shouldn't work. This could just be all a background step within this skeleton solution check feature, could it not?
Yes.
And I guess are you forcing these things to run in sequence?
They seem to.
I think that's usually something we shouldn't be relying on. But yeah, so it's also relying on a gem file. We should never have a gem file. Right, and that there we were talking about should be, we can upgrade this on here to be something like this.
I was wondering if we should also stick cucumber to 1.3.10 and especially RSpec to 2.14.1.
Yeah, we certainly could do. Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking I should push this down. See, then that's going to go and be all what have you. I guess do we have a git ignore as well? That oops. Yeah, we could do that as well, couldn't we? Well, let me save .git ignore from here. Ignore. All right then. Go
Save it with a different name and change it.
Yeah, I could just do it from now. Just with the background. Oh, that's annoying. That's then going to take. I also wonder here. What Ruby version am I on here? How can I go? I set my whole system default. What? It's ridiculous. Yeah, look, how is that fixing to 193.392 there when I've got my RVM? I can't believe it. I feel that's why it's going through here and it's trying to install these things. Oh, goodness me. RVM use 193p. Me. Anyway, I think what I should do there is git status. We've got git add gem file. What were you saying? You were saying we should lock this to
2.14.1 and 1.3.10. I mean, we could use the
Squiggly operator, whatever, if we don't want to be too particular about it. But
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you can change it. Yeah.
Those are actually the versions that are in a lot of the gem file locks right now. So maybe at some point, yeah.
Let's
we lease them.
Okay, and actually, so here in the we should also be avoiding Ruby intro in here as well. Right. So git add git
external
add.
or whatever.
Yeah, I think.
Or however you want to. I guess it's not.
First pass. You could grab this now.
Yep.
I just get that up there so you could try.
Do I have it open? Yes.
I assume that it's installing of the autograder gems there was taking a lot longer because it was on a different version of Ruby. But I guess I don't know.
It's just a lot of gems. Yeah.
Uh,
Let's see.
Other things on my. I did. No, I haven't done that. Was that one? Okay, I have at least tried to do some things. Okay, and that's. But I think that was taking long because of the older version of Ruby. But so then, if we do cucumber, let's just like okay, right. Interesting that it worked with debugger before there, but now because I don't have the gem. Interesting. I assume that's why it is. Okay. It's going to debug there. This actually might work. Let's just see if we continue. It worked! Woo! I mean, which is woo for like all of the amazing work you've done in the past, and like totally, I'm just hacking up your great masterpiece here. But it's let me go and find. But you've done amazing work, and I think but sometimes it's funny. I think particularly with computers is actually all the many things. Like sometimes you have to take a fantasy thing and you just have to boil it down and make it simpler, and then it is then you can get the awesomeness to truly shine out. Perhaps that will get rid of the.
Yeah, the reason that it's so crazy, is basically because everything was in one repo, and
Right.
then we could refactor heavily,
Yeah. Okay. And this is interesting here. So now it's going for on this other one. It's going for Ruby intro. Oh, I'm going for like spec lib part 2. That doesn't look good. What am I doing there? Spec Ruby intro lib. That's test subject. Lib. And it's okay. Look at these examples. That runs it as separate scenarios. Yes. Okay, so we have that, and then if I push that up, and you can confirm that run on yours, it's
And you're just cloning rag manually or setting a path to something that you already had?
no. That was Cucumber install completed, and I reran. So that all works. And I wonder, can we for the coup de grace? Can we? We've got Travis.yaml. So can we like do a nano.travis.yaml like this, and even here we could argue that the Ruby race is just completely irrelevant here, right? So we can get rid of that, and
somewhere there's debugger still.
can we now?
Rags.
How would we enable the Travis to run on this repo?
I mean, the Travis file is there, right?
Right, but so don't we have to like go to Travis and say, please enable my bitbucket?
Exactly. Yeah.
So do I have, in order to do that, I have to go to
Travis.org or whatever, yeah. And they should have your page is accessible up on the right corner somewhere.
Accounts. See, this is like I'm logged in through GitHub.
Oh, there it is. Loading. Yeah.
But how would I get my Bitbucket repos rather than my GitHub repos? Do I have to?
Oh, that's right. Travis doesn't run on Bitbucket.
Bitbucket, doesn't it? Are you sure?
Oh, well, they didn't. So that's when we were using the other CI. What is it called? Let me search Skype.
Jenkins.
No, it was. Although it would be cool to use that since it's very popular. But It's basically like Travis, but it's a simpler. It's like something IO or
Drone.io.
drone.io. Yeah.
So no, does Travis really not work with Bitbucket?
It didn't used to, but it could now. I mean, do you
Let's see.
think that'd be the first thing they'd want to do? But
What happened
Travis
there?
really owns, or vice versa. They have a tight binding with GitHub, so I don't know if it's a
Let's see.
exclusive business relationship.
Adding Bitbucket support.
Is it resolved?
That's like an issue, isn't it? There.
2012. A quick take on continuous integration services,
But I guess
2019, December.
what I can do is maybe if I log out with here, I could see it on Travis if I can sign in with my Bitbucket. So if I sign in, they only have sign in with GitHub. So I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but are you sure that it was Drone.io or
Yeah, that's it.
definitely Drone.io?
I kept
Okay.
calling it Droid, I remember.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. I've called it the wrong thing. Okay. But so.
And it's actually, yeah, very straightforward, especially for something this simple. It'd just be like a one-liner. There's not a .travis file. It's basically you just do it in this UI here, and then they keep track of your.
Yeah. Private. What does that say about private projects? First 50 builds for free. Okay. But so I guess if we've done a proof of concept for this, then on Bitbucket, then I can maybe argue for Armando to try and get us more private repos on GitHub, and then we get Travis integration, and
Is
kind of
GitHub
good.
just not very responsive about giving freebies to
I don't know. I
constructors?
mean, I guess actually, I mean, Armando could reach out to them, and they're kind of funky duty people, so that kind of work. But anyhow, I'm going to have to wrap up soon.
Yeah,
But I guess like this would seem to me like to be kind of a way forward, if you know what I mean. Like just to kind of like just to reduce the complexity and remove some of the working parts. I mean, I'm tempted to like it almost seems like the further complexity could be reduced by having these, like rather than having the separate feature install. But to be honest, if it's working at the moment, and we've got, our Travis tells us to do that and that, then hey, let's not knock it too hard. I think.
You could also just change it to git clone rag basically and bundle install Cucumber features. If you didn't want
right.
to have the Cucumber install feature, because basically all it does is, it does check that you're undeveloped, which is something
Yeah,
that
that's good.
we want.
Yeah.
But other than that, it doesn't really do that much.
I think in the first instance, I think the vision that I sort of have now, I'm having visions, is that a pub. I guess we've got like this is the vision that I've had on the mountaintop, or in the shower this morning. A public repo for each homework with full specs, and so I guess what we've got is that there's still the issue that I mean this is the vision, and I'm hoping that can then make working on each of these things individually, there's a separation of concerns there, and if we have I mean the sort of annoying thing is what we want to be able to do really is, for example, if we make change to RAG, we kind of want to kick off the CI on all of those private repos. Do you know what I mean? And get feedback from that. But I think, to be honest, actually, in the first instance, maybe we can just do that manually. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
We just like if we could get into this state where we had these separate private repos for each one, and like this full working setup, that feels like we're kind of like, if we've got, I think, all of the components for that, and just what we've been struggling with for the last month and a half, it seems to be just trying to make them work consistently all together in a single repo. But
Right.
if they all work, separately and independently, and they've got the CI going or whatever, we could get that done, and then we can switch back to actually implementing some interesting features in the autograders. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know about that, but
No,
yeah.
no, no. Well, hey, this you might, let's say you might want to like just say I've had enough. That's it.
I mean,
Yeah, totally. I think if we did this, that would at least allow the future of the project to be, focused on adding new things rather than just continually refactoring the old stuff. Maybe.
who knows? It could happen. There's what was the other issue? Oh, I was trying to check out your stuff, and I got it, but I think I got your old stuff. So I guess I'll just, what do I refetch?
Yeah, I think I pushed the list up. Okay, I remember why I have a Ruby intro homework. That was because Thomas and I were ping-ponging on Bitbucket on that time. Yeah, but I tell you, the GitHub Pong is so not a solution for people just getting started with pair programming, I have to say. Okay, so I've done this, and it's Ruby. Okay, drone.io, Ruby. I think it's Ruby. But so I guess it's basically it's going to ignore my .travis, right?
Yep.
So I would need to replace that with but like I would need to replace it with this.
Yes.
And I guess it should start with bundle install, really. Okay. Oh. Okay. Right. Well, we'll see if that works. But yes. Well, actually, so when you said I don't know about that, to like, were you saying that you? What I interpreted it was you were saying like, probably after we've done this, that's probably enough for you for autograders, or were you just saying like you're skeptical about whether even doing this would allow anyone to actually make changes to the graders?
Right, and I'm not sure, if there's really the desire to, versus expiring them, and obviously Armando's working on some new stuff. So, is it it sort of functions now? So, what I'm not sure,
Oh, what you're
what the
saying?
motivation, how much, time people would have, or what's the interest level.
Yeah. Or you mean in making changes to the grader?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the problem in some ways with the thing is at the moment is that the grader requires a degree of maintenance that's like to a certain extent is on at least like the change that would involve having the grader specification in the XML in edX, so you could adjust this JSON payload, would basically mean that, for example, individual instructors could set their own deadlines, right, with these 75% fall off and different things and what have you.
Right.
And so one, they want that, and two, it would basically mean it would reduce the maintenance load
Right.
on the graders, and it would make it something that rather than it being you need access to the production server to go in and edit a file to change what the dates for the MOOC are, you could actually do it through the edX interface. So it would be simplifying the maintenance overhead
nice, yeah.
for the entire thing, which then, at the moment that takes up my time, which would then free up my time to do more interesting things.
Right.
So I think there's, at least some appetite for certain changes to the grader. I think the yeah, I mean, I guess I'm proceeding on. I feel scared about making any major changes to the grader, even minor changes to the grader, at the moment, because at the moment it still sort of requires a degree of manual testing to check whether that's had any knock-on effect or not. So if we were in the state where we had, some reasonable CI there. Of course, all of these things, they are doing CI at this level of an individual grading operation. So they run, where do we have run AG gone in here? Is that this install steps, drag steps? There's like the grader is made up of these two parts. There's the part of it which is about running the grade operation and runs the grader on some test for some spec, and then there's a separate part which is the one that will talks to edX, which is a whole other thing. But if we could wrap this side up, then we could move over to that. Anyway, yeah.
I'll
Reflect. You can
forbear.
reflect.
Yes.
Yeah. So I ran. It's like the build failed here. The build failed here, and it says cucumber. So maybe actually. I guess I can kind of like contact them. And what's the? No, we need settings. So I guess I should do bundle exec in front of. I couldn't find cucumber. But I don't know. Can I give you access to this as well? I don't know. Do you?
I wonder if when I clone your thing, do I get it?
Well, I've given you full admin access to the Tansaka Ruby intro thing. I guess, but I guess I'm going to sort of propose to Armando this approach.
And this is more in line with what he wanted to do, anyways, right? Which was, suppose there was a constellation of homework authors, and they all had
and they all have their own separate repos and so on. In some ways, yes. I mean, I think his motivation for bringing all of the things together was to try and make it easier to keep the homework synced with their homework specs. But I think what you and Yarrow have ably demonstrated is actually using CI, we can make sure that any changes to the homework, are tested against all of the specs, and the solutions, even if those things are private. So yeah, I'm hoping you'll see the light.
Oh yeah.
Okay, right. Anyway, so maybe that'll work. Yeah. So I mean, I guess we could look briefly at the graders.
Oh yeah, I added a couple items yesterday.
Oh yeah. What did you add?
That one, among others.
Right.
And then the chores that are in the backlog, I moved them into the backlog too.
Okay. Right. Yes. I mean, I would change it. I would say, let's add the CI to individual private repos that check out the. I'd say that's what we want to do, and that has now been started. So that'll probably fail. But anyway, have you run that? Have you cloned my?
I have, but I haven't been able to run it or anything.
Oh no! Do you want to like what?
Bundle install and Ruby intro cucumber. See if it's. Oh, debug.
This cucumber install.feature. It seems to have. It says it's failed. That's like it says it can't find install.feature. That's weird.
Oh, is it not? Does it not exist?
Well, it does on my local copy of the repo, and the funny this is what I'm confused about, like Ruby intro here, is it doesn't show me. How do I see the code source? Oh no, that's weird. It's got solutions. The install stuff is not. Is the. Oh, for some reason is there some reason that its install stuff should be ignored? That shouldn't be in git ignore, should it?
No.
All right. So that would also prevent So anyway, I'll push that up,
All right.
and hopefully that will work for you. Um, so if you get pulled that, are you there running? You're running in Windows PowerShell. Cool.
Yeah, actually, now that I'm always on Vagrant, basically I'm back in Windows. It's weird.
Mm, mm.
Um, that's not it. Is that not it?
You trying to edit one of the steps?
Yeah, it's got a debugger statement.
Oh, has it? Well, I thought I deleted that.
Maybe I just need to pull and then it'll pull it out.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, pull to the latest. I've only got the. Why is it not even finding it at all? Find. What is it doing?
Rag steps, line 6.
Yeah, line 6 is required debugger, but that shouldn't stop you from being able to run it.
Well, I don't have debugger, so it was. I think.
No, I thought I added it to the gem file. So if you did bundle install, it would have added it.
Huh, we both lost our screen shares.
We did. And there was the cool kind of terminated and restarted.
That is thing. And so did I pull? Commit my changes.
Don't you want to do you get pull instead of git checkout? Or you're starting it again?
I'm getting rid of any changes that I might have had.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, right. Yeah. And it still failed. Oh, goodness me, with this drone thing. What's wrong now? Okay. Could not find Zentest 4 out of 10.
So the bundle install is not what? That's weird.
So that's like on the autograded gems, it's trying to install Zendesk 410.
And it's not in. Like, is it in the gem file? I wouldn't necessarily expect it to be.
I mean, it's trying to do the rag install.
Okay.
Zentest is in the. Actually, do we even need Zentest? I don't know that we do. Yeah, it's got Zentest. It's there. It's in the gem file. It's in the lock.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. That's just. I mean, that's kind of that was the error there that you were getting on the Travis. So the thing, I guess there. That's just funny. Yeah, it's the nested bundle installs. But I think where we want to, like, inside, I think where we want to sensibly be is to have, to bump up the number of private repos in SarsBook on GitHub, or so that because we know Travis will. I'm sort of assuming that Travis will manage this, but. I mean, it's using RBEM there. Interesting. Oh, and it's doing it for Ruby 193p448 as opposed to 545. Anyhow, let me leave it with you there. And I guess what I would say was I think. Yeah, well, at least make sure you can get that working locally. You could try some different Bitbucket compatible solutions. I guess the discussion I'll need to have with Armando now is whether we can get more private GitHub repos to support this, or whether we'll need to fall back on Bitbucket. But I guess what might be, I mean, I think the path of least resistance in some ways is to go through now and try and create repos based on you could do Ruby Calisthenics next, or you could kind of go large and do the more challenging ones first and see how they worked as independent elements.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted then in principle one could have separate Vagrant installs for you could have a Vagrant box that would then manage BDD Cucumber, but maybe that's overkill. Anyway, I better get off. Good stuff, Paul. That was. I feel like that's kind of maybe that will unlock things. That's
I hope so. Yeah, that would be awesome.
cool. All right, bye for now.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Cheers.